a lot of folks to say, how do we get this darn budget balanced? Because we can't afford to raise taxes. You raise taxes or you raise prices in a restaurant where you have no customers, you don't get any more. So what we decided to do is get our house in order. In fact, reduce our prices. And Batch came up with, he pushed like crazy to kill the death tax. It was fantastic. So now you don't have to go to the undertaker and the tax guy on the same day. You can pass your small business on to your kids. Isn't that a fantastic thing? And we also, they raised taxes the last year. Before I was in, we cut taxes. Now, why do you cut taxes? See, let me explain something to you, and this involves where we want to go. Nobody thanks you for a tax cut. Doesn't happen. People don't run up to you and say, oh, thank you for cutting my income tax. They don't do that. But it's almost like exercise. Nobody thanks you for exercising, but over the long haul, you're healthier. Ohio, look, we don't have an ocean. Okay? We don't have an ocean. We don't have mountains. But we have a lot of things in Ohio that are fantastic. Great neighborhoods, great location. Well, we do have sort of an ocean up north, close to one. But we have so many things in our state. Great higher education, no question about it. Good K through 12. But we need to be able to compete on the economic level. Cutting income taxes is not about some darn mindless philosophy. It's about making Ohio more attractive and more competitive with other states. It's part of what we need. It's part of what we need in the toolbox to be able to get people to understand this. To say that we have the largest tax cut in America, you know what that says to CEOs? You know what that says to Heinz, who was wondering where the heck they were going to locate? It says that, wow, how did Ohio balance its budget and, by the way, generate a $1.4 billion surplus in less than 3 years? And you're cutting taxes, and you got Mary Taylor changing regulations. That's why people around the country are beginning to say that Ohio is working. That's why people, all these, I saw it with small business, entrepreneurship put us in the top 10. I just got a report yesterday. It's why companies are getting more and more comfortable to expand. And why aren't they? A lot of them, because they're worried about Obamacare. They're worried about that. They don't know what's going to happen. I'm not using that as an excuse. We're going to do everything we can here to provide a lower cost of doing business, to have a common sense regulatory authority, not like no regulations. We regulate our fracking business more than anybody in the country, because it has to be regulated. But we're not going to have mindless regulation that's duplicative. So with a surplus and budget stability and our improved credit, our credit went up. Our credit was going down the drain. Now it's been improved. The outlook has improved. So we have stability. And when companies think about, and they know this, I'm telling the press this, they don't understand this part. When companies feel comfortable that they can make an investment and it's not going to come around and whack them upside the back of the head, they want to do it. And we need to take care of our location. We're 600 miles to 60% of the country, and we're building out the things that we think we can do best, from financial services to IT, and let me see if I can walk through that. So Keene has done a great, fantastic job. Jerry Ray down here. When I came out and said we needed to extract the value of the turnpike, you would have thought, you would not have believed what people said about that. Now, for the life of me, I do understand why no one did anything for 30 or 40 years. Because they were afraid, politically. We don't have time for that, do we? If people don't like what you're doing, you get another job. We used to have this thing, Debbie Price is here. Is there life after Congress? How's your life, Debbie? Better than it was when you were in Congress. I try to tell young legislators that. Don't go into a job to hold it. That's the craziest thing. Go and do something. Stick your neck out. Bring change. That's what people will remember you for. So we went into this turnpike thing, and we had 3 options. One, we could lease it, we could sell it, or we could bond. A simple thing. Bond, issue debt, and retire the debt with the tolls from the turnpike. That's like falling off a log to figure out what you ought to do. And it's going to unleash $3 billion that we never anticipated before. We got $1 billion already done, and the bond sale went great. Jerry and his team did a great job of getting that done. So now we have $1 billion. So what does it mean? We have projects that are going to be delayed for 20 years now into the 5, 6, 7 year window. And that's so when you drive around and you see those orange barrels, and the thing goes down to 1 lane, don't be mad, be glad. And I'll tell you why. We're shining up Ohio. We're rebuilding Ohio. Don't you hear what Keith Faber said? 150 million, 200 million, 5 years, 150, 200 million for the next 5 years. We're going to shine up our local communities too, with the problems that they have. It's fantastic. But the turnpike is great because it creates jobs and it's going to lead to economic development too. For example, the Opportunity Corridor in Cleveland. It's going to take areas where people have struggled for years, and now all of a sudden there's going to be hope. It's fantastic. And all we did is sit down and think about it and try to solve the problem. Joe Testa on the taxes.